Hey, hello, welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, your opportunity to be a voice. We're going to jump gears a little bit, but we're going to talk about something dear to a lot of people's heart, and of course, it's the oil and gas industry and what's not happening in Louisiana. Even though we see prices that are climbing, there are some people trying to do some work, mostly out of the state, but it's not really looking good for the industry. I've asked Mr. Don Briggs to come visit with us. Don, first of all, and by the way, you run one or did. Are you retired now?
Well, I
Close?
actually officially am very close to retiring or transitioning is
Okay.
what they're saying.
They're saying,
to
okay.
something else.
Okay, well, first of all, I know you've done a good job for the oil and gas industry for a long time. You wrote a piece the other day that I've been hearing about this anyway. I've been in contact with you before and also your son, but just talking to people in the oil and gas industry. Everybody in the business we in, when we see oil and gas, oil prices go up and down, we always say, well, it'll come back. But I don't think you have that same perception right now. Just reading what I heard, reading what you wrote, and I think you'll give us a little bit more insight of really what's happening in that business in the state of Louisiana and what's the problem.
Well, Moon, first of all, thank you
Yes, sir.
for being here. Look, we have one inland barge rig on the coast of Louisiana working, just one. And that's been down for some time. And it's got nothing to do with the price of oil, okay? And normally we run about 13 barge rigs on the coastal area of Louisiana. And those are high-paying jobs, and for every rig that you don't have, you can, on the coastal area, you can figure almost 600 direct and indirect jobs. And today we have 4 land rigs working in South Louisiana. So you got 4 land rigs and 1 barge rig. But those 4 rigs on land in South Louisiana, we normally have about 35 plus rigs. And just 2 weeks ago, we only had 1. And so all in all, we've got 4 plus the 1. We got 5 rigs where we normally have, 45 or 50 rigs running. Those are a lot of jobs.
Yes, sir.
And recently, a lady sent me an email, said, "Would you please call me? I need to talk to you about my husband and his job." I get all kinds of messages sometimes. Sure. And so anyway, I did call this lady, and she asked me, she said, "I heard you speak, Don, and you said that you would talk to my husband or talk to anyone that needs to hear to have some faith and hope in the future." And which I did. And she says, "That's why I emailed you. Would you talk to him?" I said, "Yes." And so I met him. She's very worried about her husband because he was so depressed. He has a family. He takes a lot of pride in being able to take care of his family,
Sure.
of
Most
course.
of us do.
And I met with him. He's been in the oil patch for many, many years. And it's a very sad situation. Years back, if we lost a job in one part of the industry, you could always get a job in another sector of it.
Sure.
Our problem is we don't have enough rigs running in South Louisiana anymore. And, we went through this downturn, but it wasn't because of the downturn that all this is happening as much as it is today.
And that's what I want you to concentrate on, Don, because we all think of oil prices.
Right.
But you got a deeper insight than that.
Yes. And I'm just going to tell you a quick story, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir.
Several months ago, back in 2016, I went to New York when we were going through this downturn. I knew that we were going to need some capital, and I came and met with 2 venture capitalist companies, investment bankers, and brought them home to Louisiana to help do some financing of some of our companies that were going to need help. And they came in, one banker was interested totally in mergers and acquisitions of production. And they looked real hard at some companies. And then the other was very interested in helping service companies that needed some additional finance because of the downturn. And the way it all ended up, they were negotiating, and I thought we were going to get some good help, and then all of a sudden both of them came to me, not together but separately, and then said, Don, there is no way we're going to risk our investors' capital in South Louisiana when the governor is encouraging lawsuits against the industry that we're getting ready to buy into and invest into.
And he is doing that.
And he said, there's no way we're going to do that, and we're out of here. And so that was the end of that. But that is the story. That is what's happening, is the governor has encouraged the coastal parishes to sue the oil and gas industry for coastal erosion, for the canals and all the different things that, whatever they could dream up, it doesn't matter. They come up with so many different things. But that's what he's encouraging, these coastal lawsuits and parishes. And in fact, even Vermilion Parish is south of us here.
Yeah.
Filed a lawsuit. And there were 6 parishes filed lawsuits, a total of 43 so far. But, we have become, and now today, the most litigious state in the United States. And one of the things that we have to keep in mind when the governor came on board, Louisiana was considered by some as the 7th best state to do business in the United States. And then after the governor today, now we're sitting here in a few years later, we are now the worst state to do business. We're the most litigious, and we're rated by the National Chamber of Commerce as a judicial hellhole.
Yeah.
And that's a sad situation to be in when you want to attract people to come do business with you.
Don, just to stop you for a second, a state like Texas, which, I heard Jay Darden comparing us to Texas. I don't like to be compared to Texas in anything. I think it's unfair for us. But anyway, why don't they have the litigation problems? They just shut it down. I know they don't have a governor. They say, come on in. We want you here. And you know this from the last downturn. A lot of people got up and went over there. Well, they said, the heck with it, we'll go to Texas. And you lost some corporations and some nice-sized companies that went to Texas. They may still do business here, but they moved their corporation over there.
Yes. And look, we have some real judicial problems in this state and how we do our business. And it's getting worse and has gotten worse year after year after year. In Texas, they don't allow this kind of...
Can't allow it.
They just don't allow it.
Right, let me stop you there, too. The other thing is, though, a governor in a state is basically your number one player. Texas hadn't elected a governor to turn on the industry. We've elected a governor to turn on the industry, and at the time he was elected, we already had a downturn, Don. Now you got somebody pounding him.
I met with the governor, and I told him the demise, what we find our industry in. And I told him, said, your legacy, Governor, is going to be the demise of drilling in South Louisiana and the coastal. That's going to be your legacy. And, and I gave him some ideas that I had that we could make some changes but he had to drop his support. I told him he had to drop the lawsuits. He said, well, I didn't file the suits, Don. And he didn't. The parishes have filed the suits. But he has encouraged the parishes to do it. And it's his trial lawyer buddies that are getting the work that were the ones that helped elect him for governor. Okay, much of the money's come. And then I gave him an out, how to fix the problem, told him how we can do it, and he's not interested in that I can tell. He said he was intrigued by it, but I haven't heard a word from him since then. But until we stop this, let us sue you type attitude that we have here in the court systems that we have, and I don't want to beat up on our
but Don, let me stop you a second.
Or anything like that.
Don, you've been in the business. You know a lot more ins and outs of the business than me and most of the people you're listening to. But I do know this part of it, that if you attack a business and it comes from the governor down, you're going to have less of that business, and that business is going to go away. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break. And I want you to tell me what's happening in this business right now. And do you give any hope that it's ever going to come back, or what's going on? Because I want to know what's happening and where people, because there are people leaving for jobs, going into Texas and other places. I'm hearing about them. I'm hearing from them left and right.
They are. And look, we can be very thankful that we've got Texas and we've got the Permian and we've got other places like that. And that we do have, up in North Louisiana, we still have the Haynesville up there that's been very good for us.
Well, don't give them any ideas. Let's take a break. This is Mr. Don Briggs, folks. The oil and gas industry, been servicing these guys for a long, long time, and very concerned about what's going on out of Baton Rouge with the governor and in this industry. Do we have a future?
Yes.
Next, when we get back, Mr. Don Briggs. We'll be right back. Okay. Come back, Griffon Show. Mr. Don Briggs, of course, heading up oil and gas for a long, long time. Don, we talked about the problem with the governor. You really disturbed me when you talked about investment bankers coming here and saying, heck no way. That tells me that other people are saying the same thing. All right, if everything stays like it is, we're going to talk about what we can do too, but if everything stays like it is with this governor and with the lawsuits, what's the immediate impact? I already see what it is now, but what's the immediate future?
Well, it's bad. It's real bad. I mean, we cannot stay in this mode that we're in today. We cannot have a situation where no one wants to invest in South Louisiana anymore. We have lots of great geologists. As a president of an oil company from Houston told me the other day, he said, Don, you still have great rocks in South Louisiana, meaning we've got some great geological structures, and we've got lots of potential to drill and operate in South Louisiana. And the problem is the lawsuits. Okay, so other oil companies don't want to invest here. It's not just the investment bankers I brought in, it's everybody. I mean, look, you can spend your money wherever you want to. Let's just go over to Texas and play in the Permian for a while. And let's go up to the Dakotas, anywhere you want to go.
Yeah, but that also,
you can get out of this state. You don't want to drill here, and that's costing us jobs here, and we have got to do something about it.
But it directly affects everybody else's job, including mine. It affects everybody's job.
Sure,
the business you're talking about, when it's doing well and booming, it affects what happens at home building, retail stores, restaurants. I can go on and on. Service industry.
Thousands of people out of work right now, and that's what's got to come to an end, and that's
okay. Can you give me the short run of what has to change for people to get confidence and invest in Louisiana again in this industry? What do you think has to change? What's 2 or 3 or 4 things they got to do? And maybe it's so many you can't name them all today.
Well, we've got all kinds of budget problems and everything else. But number one, as far as the oil and gas industry is concerned, getting rid of these lawsuits and putting an end to this kind of legal atmosphere that we have and climate that we have here in this state has got to come to an end, and it's got to start with the governor. So we've got to take our state back. We have got to take it back and take it out of the hands of a bunch of trial lawyers, and that's what's taking place in our state right now.
And by the way, this will blend over to other businesses as well. Like I said, but look, the governor's already into his 3rd year. And if he doesn't change anything this year, he's sure not going to change it next year. Next year's election year. He needs those trial lawyers to give him money so he can, quote, get reelected, which I personally think he's a one-term governor. That's just my opinion. But so that means it won't change. If he was going to do something, they'd have done it already by now, wouldn't you think?
Well,
I'm asking.
I was hoping that he would after I talked to him, but it doesn't seem to matter. You know, and I told him, I said, Governor, you are unelectable. You are unelectable governor like this.
I think he is too.
And I said, and I gave, you can't just tell someone, well, this is wrong. Then you got to tell them what you would do and how you could fix it. And I did tell him, but he hasn't paid any attention to it. So we in this state, all of us in this state, and all our families and family members, everyone has got to pay attention. And we have got to do what's right, and that is make sure that we elect a new governor, that when the time comes, that we elect a governor that's going to run the state the way it should be run, and not like this.
No. Matter of fact,
and take it away from the trial lawyers and take it away from this governor.
When you go down Evangeline Thruway, which is the I-49 extension, whatever you want to call it, a lot of businesses closed,
yes.
But a hell of a lot of nice billboards for lawyer representation. I never seen anything like that. All the businesses are closed below the signs, but the signs go, hey, call me. If you've been hurt on an all rig, we'll sue the hell out of them.
Yeah.
Don, anything else you want to add?
Or if you drilled a well here 80 years ago, we'll sue you for that too.
Yeah, unbelievable. You want to stay around one more segment? Are you done?
No, I've made my point.
We're gonna do it again soon.
We have got. Yes, I'd love to.
Yeah, new governor. He's gonna be a one-term governor. Don't worry about that. All right, we got to take a break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. Don Briggs, thank you so much for being honest with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Moon Griffon Show. Great to have you with us. 844-766-6607 Hickson has it hotline. If you'd like to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. All right. Folks, I'm so glad that Don Briggs took the time to be part of the program today. I'm hearing about this over and over and over again. Bel Edwards and his trial lawyers are really hurting this state. Bel Edwards is hurting this state in general, but he's killing us in this oil company. I'm talking to people that have 10 rigs, and they're things they can go do right now, but they can't because of all the lawsuits. And they even talk those coastal parishes in. Everything is about money now. Everything's about money. Oil and gas has put more people to work, has given a state more tax dollars probably in the last 50 years than any one entity. Maybe the income tax and the sales tax, but far as a business, they put more people to work, more people through college. Just so many good things for us to be shooting down the goose that laid the golden egg. Hell, that's one thing about the state. We're just not collecting the golden egg. Hell, we're going to shoot the dang goose and strangle it and kill it. For what? This is the governor. And Don Briggs said it right. We don't change this governor out, folks. I'm telling you, this state is headed to hell in a handbasket. It doesn't have to be like that. Don is courageous enough to come on and talk about this and talk about the problems. When you got investment bankers and people that are normally coming to help the oil and gas business kick off and get up and running, and all of a sudden, now they don't want to invest here. But they're going to invest in Texas. And this is all lawsuits. And this is Bel Edwards bringing us on over and over and over again. And that's Jay Darden. Oh, Jay, he knows a budget. Yeah, he knows how to lie about one. And I proved that in the early hour. By the way, it's already on the Dead Pelican to listen to it for yourself. Are budget cuts real? And the budget cuts are not real. That's the headlines on Dead Pelican, and not if you listen to that tape. Things have gotten worse under Edwards. That's on the Dead Pelican right now too, Brandon, from Don Briggs. They've gotten worse under Edwards. Our economy's gotten worse under Edwards. Oh, our unemployment's gotten better. You know why? Because people are moving out. Even Tyler Bridges had a report saying, we're interviewing economists saying, well, the reason our unemployment's down, people moving out here. We got our migration problem. Why do y'all want to keep living like that? Elected people like this. And there's that the co-governor who only got 15% in the governor's race gets to be governor. One of the reasons that Darden runs his mouth real quick. Bel Edwards put his foot in his, telling people there's $600 million in cuts, and it's not. And now we got Darden saying there's no such thing. Check it out, The Dead Pelican. I'll probably put it on my Facebook, Brandon, if you don't mind sending that to Jennifer. As a matter of fact, you can headline it, no $600 million cut, according to Jay Darden. So this is real stuff. We're dealing with real stuff here. I know what happens. I'm hearing it all the time, too. We've had oil prices go up and down before. Okay? And most of the time, it always comes back. It's not what I'm hearing from people like Don Briggs and them. People like in my business say, well, just give it time. It's going to come back. But there's a chance it never comes back. That's doom and gloom. No, I'm being honest with you. You can't have all these lawsuits that Bel Edwards and his trial lawyer buddies are doing. Look, I like a lawyer just like everybody else if I need one. I got great friends that are lawyers. I don't know if they're in on this or not. But this is about money. It's not about protecting families. It's about these parishes that are suing. All they want is a bunch of money. They're going to be just as broken poor as they were as soon as they spent all that. Same thing with the state government. Same thing with the federal government. Give them more. Give them more of your money. I mean, if you got a golden goose that's laying golden eggs, in my book, you protect the goose. In the book of Bel Edwards and Jay Darden, you kill a damn thing and eat him. How about that? The goose that laid the golden egg. I think you protect him with everything you got. Not our governor. You kill him and eat him. Smoke him. Put him on a pit. You don't worry about the gold. Then what happens when the gold's not coming out anymore? You know what you do? I tell you what you do. You start looking around at people like you and me, middle-class workers, and finding out how much money can I go get from them? How much money can I go get from y'all? How much money can I go pound on the middle class? And that's what Darden and the co-governor, John Bel Edwards, are doing. You know, John Bel Edwards is not out there doing interviews and telling you what he needs to do. He sent Jay Darden out there. Because you know why? The press has made it seem like, well, Jay Darden's an expert on the budget. He knows the budget better than anybody. Yeah, he knows what a cut is and what's not a cut. What wasn't a cut back in August, now he's claiming is a cut on the $600 million. And if you go pay attention to the piece, play it a couple of times, you'll see what I mean. They come up with this new term that Darden agreed with on the tape with Lance Harris. Means a finance swap is not a cut. He says it's not a cut to the general budget. And when Darden was pushed, he said, hey, I ain't said that. Well, he's saying it now. He didn't say it in August, but he's saying it now. And I told y'all back since July, this $600 million cut is a bunch of bogus bull. And I didn't need all this stuff to prove it. I knew it was bull. And the reason I knew it was, well, first of all, I knew they didn't cut $600 million, not because the budget grew. They didn't cut $600 million because nobody's out there crying and wailing and just going nuts. Nobody said a word. If John Bel Edwards and the great Jay Darden, the leftist that he is, cut $600 million, and nobody bickered, nobody complained, nobody got fired, they're geniuses. And I can promise you, there are a lot of things. Genius ain't one of them. Let's go to Billy in Morgan City. Billy, how you doing?
I'm doing lovely there, Moon, and yourself.
Yes, sir. I'm doing fine. It's another great day. It's Monday.
Oh, yeah. It's fabulous. In fact, the weather down here is beautiful. But go on to everything. You got to look at, if you got $10 million to invest to drill a well, you going to come and drill it in South Louisiana, or you going to take your money, you're going to go into one of them shale areas. If you drill it in South Louisiana, you're worried about the lawsuits, plus the cost of operating that well might be $10,000 a month compared on dry ground where it's only $2,000 a month. That's a lot of the thing you got to look at. And did you understand? I read something the other day that the DEQ is going to start forcing our power companies to having carbon credits or doing something like that. They're out there having meetings and stuff, the DEQ officials, about how to set up a carbon.
I hope that's not right, because that sounds like man-made global warmers, a crazy talk is what that is.
Right. Well, I've got it off of one of them, which you say the Bucket Brigade type of website. I've kind of snuck in on them, and they send me all their updates. And the DEQ is supposedly having meetings, and that's what they are. They're discussing about setting up a carbon trading program.
Well, I'm curious to see. I'm curious to see if they really do that. But listen, nothing surprises me anymore in this day and time. It really doesn't. And by the way, I appreciate your thoughts on it. I really do.
I wanted to put it out there, man.
All right. Thanks for the call. By the way, another reason, Brandon, I can tell you we're having budget problems is anytime we have budget problems, they crank up the old expanded gambling. Oh, expanded gambling's going to bring in the money. Ronnie Johns, a sulfur. He's the next Republican to try to expand gambling. We'll take a break. Be back. Hi, y'all are. Welcome back. Moon Griffon Show. Telling like it is every single day. 844-766-6607. Hickson has it hotline. If you want to be part of the program, it's your opportunity to be a voice. By the way, folks, gambling rules could be changing in Louisiana. Lawmakers in Louisiana considering making changes that could expand gambling. And that's what it is. If these measures are approved, casinos would move on to land, and gambling space could also grow. Gambling Control Board Chairman Ronnie Smith pushing for, not Ronnie Smith, Ronnie Johns. They got Ronnie Jones, but I think it's Ronnie Johns. But maybe it's Ronnie Jones. Game Control Board. Which one do you say him? Is Jones?
No, it's Ronnie Jones.
Okay. I'm just disheartened by the fact that this is one of the ways. No, it's not a tax if I don't go. I understand people are going to say that. That's fine. I don't understand lawmakers. By the way, Dead Pelican headline: Darden admits no $600 million cut. Folks, please, Brandon, that's a good headline. If you're going to send that to Jennifer, if you already did,
I already did.
Darden admits no $600 million cut. It's there for everybody to see. You ain't got to believe me. Man, I like Darden. Well, good, you can like Darden, but he's a liar. And the honor code's a big-time liar. Better be beat. Here's what's sad. We just had Don Briggs on a while ago. Don Briggs is talking about a goose that's laid the golden egg for this state. And that is, of course, what? All. And the people that made livings and made multimillionaires out of people, and people that made great livings and retired and invested in. We're talking about cutting the head off of that. So to replace it, let's expand gambling. And it's no comparison. One has got to do with manufacturing. One's got to do with real jobs that grows economies, not gambling. So we're gonna kill the goose that laid the golden egg and cook that sucker up, and we're gonna expand gambling. We're gonna expand for people to go lose their boop. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna expand gambling. Folks, that one thing about the state, we consistently not too bright. It's like, I could put my arm around the state like my daddy did, Brandon. My old daddy would put his arm around me and say, you're a good boy, you're a fine fella. However, you're not a very bright fella. I could put my arm around the state. You're a good state. Got some fine people here, but we're not too bright. Expanding of gambling. Remember, boy, it was going to be education. But we didn't have to worry about money ever again with education. Folks, when are we going to get it right? I mean, how long does it take to get it right? Why won't anybody go to Baton Rouge? Let me back up. There are people in Baton Rouge trying to get it right. Not enough of them. You take almost all the Democrats, don't ever try to get it right. It's more tax dollars. Is the best thing since sliced bread. And they could team up with them good old Republicans that Jim Beam like. I like this Republican. Why? Because they're liberal. They need to be a Democrat. Jay Dorn's a Democrat, big time. Please go to this The Dead Pelican. TheDeadPelican.com. TheDeadPelican.com. I think Brandon sent that over. We're going to have it on my Facebook. Dart admits to 600. Great headlines, Chad. Dart admits no $600 million cut until he decided that it was a $600 million cut. The governor and Jordan are like this, and now they're saying it's a $600 million cut. By the way, they didn't send any information out. Folks, go ahead. You want to expand gambling? Go ahead. We're going to have budget problems coming out the wazoo. We have a spending problem. We spend too much money. We take too much money from people. You really believe we're going to expand gambling and kill all business, and our state's going to be better for that? You really believe that, folks? Senator Ronnie Johns is trying to shove. I think, Brandon, I might be wrong. And I've been wrong before. Ronnie Johns may be term limited. Somebody help me out over. Is Ronnie Johns term limited? Because what happens normally is you find a term limited quack that'll take a bunch of money, and that take a bunch of money, and then they will do whatever they need to do because they're going to get their money, and they don't care about what happens to the state. Yeah, because I think, hold up, Brandon. What was the senator? What's that?
Okay, so Senator Ronnie Johns, he's been a senator since 2012.
He's not term limited. It's 12 years. You get 3 terms. You can make it for 3 terms.
And he was a state rep from 96 to 2008.
He was a state rep for a while. I just wonder if he's running again. But his last thing he wants to do is expand gambling. Brandon, they did all the expanded gambling stuff when we were talking about budget problems. We're talking about budget problems, so here come expanding gambling while Bel Edwards and Jay Darden, and both, they go hand in hand. They go together. He was able to knife Vitter for him to put him in there, and then he got his ship came in, $237,500 a year. His retirement would be based off of that when this year's over. He's out there pushing for the budget. But he admitted the $600 million cut, there was none. Dead Pelican has it up there. Listen to it for yourself, folks. This is big-time stuff here. This is gigantic for me. You won't see the advocate pick it up unless they defend it. Jim Beam would never pick something up like this. I mean, I don't even know what the hell Jim knows where he's at. Greg Hillman, you could put this in front of Greg Hillman, he wouldn't know. He just wouldn't know. He just don't never get none of it right. I wonder if Tyler Bridges will be honest about this. Tyler actually wrote a statement report on this unemployment going down, how he had nothing to do with it. Folks, I'm the one ought to be called the honor code. I'm trying to be honest with you folks at every step of the way. They're not being honest with you. I'm living under the honor code, but I'm not running for office. Gambling is going to get us from point A to point B, folks. Gambling is going to prosper us, so we're going to now expand gambling in the great state of Louisiana because that's what's going to take us over the top. Let's expand gambling. By the way, Brandon, the Grammys, they're talking about that crash and burn, lowest rating in history. Well, if you put Hillary Clinton to read from Fire and Fury, what the heck do you think you're going to get? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. But this is what we're fighting now, folks. This is what we're fighting in the state of Louisiana. We're fighting things like means of financial swap and calling it a cut. Means of financial swap and calling it cuts. There were no cuts. Jay Darden will never show a list of $600 million cuts, just like he didn't come back and show him the list. He promised. Who was the representative out of Thibodaux?
D. Richard.
D. Richard. D. Richard was promised that if he'd let Jay Darden take over those contracts that John Kennedy wanted that 10% across the board cut, he promised he would go over every one of them and report back. 2 years, no report. And they took it off the table. 2 years, no report, took it off the table. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That's a good idea, Brandon. Let's kill gambling. Let's make it legal under Edwards that oil and gas industry cannot do any business here, and let's open gambling casinos wherever there was buildings for oil and gas industry. How about that, folks? Wouldn't that be neat? Just think of all the prosperity, the people losing their money. Then we're going to legalize drugs. Then we're going to legalize prostitution. Why not? Legalize it all. Boy, it's going to make so much money because I'm telling you, this is all about money. It's all about money. None of this is about you and me. None of this is about middle class and working class people. None of this is. Expansion of gambling. What a joke. What a joke. They're going to call that economic development too, I guess. Expand the gambling. Expanding for more people to lose money. That's a great way to build your economy up, folks. Let's expand. This is not Las Vegas in the middle of a desert. The last thing we need is expanded gambling. But according to Bel Edwards, they're not suing gambling companies for people losing their money, Brandon. No, they're not suing gambling companies. They sue oil and gas, though. God have mercy. All right, we got to take a quick break. You're listening to the Moon Griffon Show. 22 hours. We'll be right back.